Please be seated， 请大家迅速就座，我们的议程即将开始。Please be seated. Our meeting will start now. We will have more time for photography. Please return to your seats. Thank you. We are proceeding the meeting right now. 请大家迅速回座，我们会议就要开始了。Okay. Coming up, there will be two speeches that are of great importance to our health and well-being. We are honored to have District Governor Riding Ling of District 3470 to introduce our first speaker. Now, let's welcome District Governor Riding. A big round of applause for District Governor Riding for his introduction to our first speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated, and we will start our meeting right now.
Good morning, all our fellow Rotarians. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce Professor Chen. Professor Chen holds an MD and PhD from Kaohsiung Medical University, Taiwan, and an MBA from National San Yat-sen University. He also completed a postdoctoral fellowship at Harvard Medical School, US, and was visiting scholar in Imperial College London. He has held many positions through his career, including Chief of Center of Clinical Trial, Chief of the Division Infection Disease, Department of Internal Medicine, and Department of Infection Control, Kaohsiung Medical University Hospital, Superintendent of Municipal Dachong Hospital. He is currently serving as an Associate Dean and Director of the School of Medicine, College of Medicine, National San Yat-sen University. He is also a professor in the MSc program in Tropical Medicine, Kaohsiung Medical University. Throughout his career, Professor Chen has received numerous honors for his outstanding contribution, research, and teaching. His work is highly cited, demonstrating his influence and impact in the field. Professor Chen's area of specialization including development of diagnostic kits and drugs, infection disease and infection control, general medicine and molecular medicine, and tropical medicine. Let's welcome our Professor Chen. Okay?
A big round of applause for Professor Chen from National San Yat-sen University.
Dear all the guests, and welcome to the Kaohsiung. And it's a southern, the big city in South Kaohsiung. And today I want to give us a short talk on the dengue fever, because the dengue fever is very popular recently in Taiwan. And this is a very important disease for many countries. And dengue fever is rapid transcript in the world, and it's a major public health problem in the tropical and subtropical region, and affected millions of people every year. In the past 50 years, the case number increased 50-fold. And because the dengue fever has 4 several-type dengue virus infected, dengue 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's it's a problem of because there's 4 dengue serotypes. In the past, patient infected 1 serotype and would have a lifelong immunity to the same serotype. But recently, the scientists find the human cannot have the lifelong immunity for the same serotype. Another major problem is patient would shift to the severe dengue if they are infected with the different serotype. So this is a major problem in many countries because always the 4 serotypes in the same country. So the clinical symptom of the dengue fever is very different. About 80% patients are asymptomatic. So it's a hidden bomb for spreading for dengue fever. And some patients are very mild and cell limit febrile illness, just fever, headache, and bone pain, and muscle pain, and nausea, or sometimes have a skin rash. Only 4 to 0.% of the symptomatic patients develop severe dengue. The case fatality rate around 0.01 and 0.1 to 1%. This is the estimated burden from the WHO in 2022. We can find the dengue fever spread many countries, and about more than 100 countries. And they estimated the case number is more than 390 million infected cases annual in the world, and 96 million have the symptoms. And in many countries in the tropical area, the population is children. But in Taiwan and several countries is very different. The major population with the severe dengue is elder population. Due to the climate change, so the dengue fever spread more country in the world. In the left side, the mosquito is for dengue fever is different from the malaria. In dengue fever is transmitted by the Aedes mosquito. Aedes mosquito active would be active during the day. So in the early morning or the late evening. And they would live near your house and in the house. So this is the major problem to control dengue fever because and the mosquito live near the house and in the house and then like clean water. So this is the major problem. So there is incubation days, about 3 to 14 days. And mostly is 4 to 7 days. So if you travel to the tropical or subtropical country with the dengue endemic area, so you need to make attention on the symptom signs. So there is 3 phases of the dengue fever. The first phase is a fever phase. So the patient maybe have the symptom of the fever, headache, and bone pain, and rash, and fatigue. So maybe the patient just missed diagnosis as just like a flu or like just a common cold, and so this is a problem. And the second phase is the critical phase. So the critical phase, the patient may be developed to shock and many bleeding in many organs. And then is the recovery phase. So if the patient fortunately and past these 3 phases, they move to the recovery phase. So the severe dengue, there are several warning signs. So this is the warning sign: severe pain, abdominal pain, and persistent vomiting, and rapid breathing, and gum bleeding, or blood in the urine. In the past, in one hospital, there is a case. It's a male patient, and he found the blood in the urine on Friday. So he just take some medication by himself, and unfortunately, in the next Monday, the patient is shocked and coma. So the cause of the critical phase may be very, very soon. So this is the master clearly for these 3 phases, and we can see the critical and fever phase, and the critical phase, and the recovery phase. In the fever phase, the patient feel fever very abruptly. And the critical phase always develops when the fever subsides. So fever subside improve. The patient always understand the condition improving, but in several hours maybe move to the critical phase, and the patient will be shocked and many organ bleeding, just like the gum bleeding, or blood in the stool, or blood in the urine. So even the fevers improving, we need to take more attention for the symptom. So we can see the platelet is the most low, the most low in this area, and then it's recovering. So this is the skin rash. So you can see the skin rash is like a patch skin rash, and but if you look closely, the skin rash is very, very small, red and pink head, small rash. So you can see the very small rash all the body. This is a typical skin rash. We call a special item. It's a iron in the Red Sea. So you can see the small. This is the normal skin. It's the white color, but the rash is abnormal. So we call the iron in the Red Sea. So this is the typical skin rash, and the patient may feel itchy and uncomfortable, and some patients feel the palm and the sole is swelling. So we in the clinical we can see the patient just very itch over the palm and the sole. So this is iron in the Red Sea. So you can see the iron in the Red Sea. So this is a very, very typical dengue skin rash, but not all patients show this skin rash. There are two guidelines published from the WHO. The first guideline is the 1997, and the second guideline is the 2009. And there are some difference from these two guidelines. The first guideline needs a laboratory, so it's not practical for the patient. So they shift to the second guideline, and the second guideline just need the patient to take more attention on the symptom. So if there is the warning sign, abdominal pain, persist vomiting, and there is a fluid accumulation, so the patient is dyspnea and gum bleeding, blood in the stool and in the urine, and maybe lethargy. So the patient need to go to the hospital. We call this is class B. So the patient need to go to the hospital soon. And then it's the class C, is severe dengue. So this is the flow chart we always practice in the clinic. So we classify to class A, B, C. A, you can rest at home and need to take more water and with electrolyte. And the class B need to go to the hospitalized. And class C is the shock. So need to go to the ICU. About the prevention, there is many issues for the prevention, but always is not very success because just as I say, the mosquito like your house. They stay in the house, like the clean water. And so it's very important to educate the people to change the behavior. So it's always very difficult for the patient, for the peoples. And so we need to decrease the infected mosquito. So many sites we can see the mosquito can stay in the water. And there is one more important thing. The eggs of the mosquito can stay in dry area for 8 months. So we need to not only pour out the water, we need to brush anything. So pour water and brush and lay dry and then change the position. Not let the eggs of the mosquito to survive. But always this is very difficult. So always in the house. So we cannot go into the other person's house. So in Taiwan, there is a regulatory, the police can go into the house to clean the house more clean. So there are several methods to control the mosquitoes. About the vaccine, there is several typical points to develop the vaccine. Till now, only 2 vaccines available for the human. Because they have the 4 serotype and for dengue fever. And there is a very special human immunity for the dengue virus infection. Because if you infected the 2nd serotype, the symptom would change to the very severe. So if the dengue vaccine have the 4 type of the dengue virus, so maybe lead to the severe case. So vaccine is protective or is a weapon. So it's very difficult to develop. And till now, only 2 vaccines available. One is Denvacia, and is developed from the Sanofi. They get the approval in 2015. And the second vaccine is developed by the Takeda from the Japan, and just approved last December in Europe only, and Indonesia. It's Q Gada. Then Vasia is only for age 9 to 16. And there is a very important thing. The patient with take this vaccine need to have the infection before. So we need to take the test before the vaccination. There is even in Philippines in 2016, because the government have a massive vaccination for children. So millions of the school children and got the vaccine, and including less than 9 years, and no infected before. So leading to the hundred of the kids and develop severe dengue and the death. So dengue vaccine has a low issue in Philippines due to 2016, and the 2017 the Philippine incidents increased more, so the government seen again to use this vaccine again, and this is a controversy. Another vaccine is Q-Denga. Q-Denga is a new vaccine, but only for 6 years to 45 years old people, so, and don't concern the infection before. They need to 2 injection, and only last for 5 to 6 years. And the common side effect is very mild and moderate. So this is maybe a new start in the future. And now NIH has the new vaccine is on clinical trial, and we are invited into this clinical trial now. So this is the special talk today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause for Professor Chen. Thank you. The second speaker will be introduced by PES RI Director Surgeon Liu from District 35001. Please welcome PES RI Director Surgeon. A big round of applause.
It's a great honor for me to introduce Dr. Ya-Chun Fan. Dr. Ya-Chun Fan is a clinical professor and a clinical psychologist, and also an assistant professor at National Sun Yat-sen University, Taiwan. After completing her training in clinical psychology and obtaining her license as a clinical psychologist. She pursued her PhD at King's College, London, where she investigated the psychopathology of worry. Her research focuses on the cognitive mechanism of emotional disorders and involves the investigation of cognitive biases related to worry, anxiety, and social anxiety using behavioral and neurophysiological methods. She's also interested in exploring how cognitive processes interact with each other, such as how memory is influenced by previous interpretations and how these cognitive processes influence psychological symptoms. Furthermore, she conducts research to develop new interventions that target cognitive deficits, ultimately reducing symptoms and distresses. Her role at the university is to raise awareness about mental health and reduce the stigma associated with mental disorders by enhancing understanding and empathy toward individuals with mental disorders. My fellow Rotarians, please join me to welcome Dr. Ya-Chun Feng. Thank you.
OK，
有办法全荧幕播放吗？
那你就只好先这样子，因为你这么急的时候再弄的，是不是就直接开始了？
As we are adjusting our presentation slide, the next speaker's speeches will be also conducted in English. If you need a translation earset, you can use this time to get the earset from the restroom, men's restroom, across from the men's restroom. I'm sorry. 接下来的演讲还是会以英文来进行，所以如果您需要耳机的话，可以趁这个机会呢，到南侧外面的这个服务台来拿翻译耳机，谢谢。
Okay, sorry for the delay. So, hi everyone. I'm Dr. Ya-Chun Feng. So, thank you, Surgeon Liu, for introducing me. So, as she mentioned, I am a clinical psychologist and also an academic researcher in the university. So, today it is very glad to know that mental health is a major focus of Rotary International this year. So, this is a pleasure for me to be standing here and talking to you about the issue about like mental health and all the data about that, all the facts to help to like raising the awareness of mental health issues. So, let me see. Okay. Okay, so you can see my slide now. Sorry, it cannot present like fully, so we need to use this format. So I want to talk about this first. It's like we know we all have physical health. So could you like raise your hand up if you have ever had a like headache? Headache, right? Okay, everyone should have that, right? Okay. Or have you ever cut your finger? Okay, like broke your bones? Or like have hypertension or diabetes? Yeah, okay, some of you have that, right? And we go to the doctors or seek a lot of different help. For example, you take medicine, you do some wrapping, you scan your brain, you do all the examinations. So we seek help when we have physical problem. And how about when we feel like mentally unwell? Do you seek help when you feel lonely, when you feel unhappy, when you feel depressed, when you feel anxious? Do you seek help? That is my questions here to that everyone think. And we know like we have emotions like angry, anxious, depressed, stressed, lonely. These are the negative emotions. We also have that positive emotion like happy, excited, and calm, satisfied. So these are the emotions actually we experience every day. We probably don't pay too much attention on them because they just come and go. But they are part of our mental health. According to the definition of American Psychology Association, mental health has some characteristics. First, emotional well-being. Second, good behavior adjustment and related freedom from anxiety and disabling symptoms, and a capacity to establish constructive relationship and cope with the original demands and stress of life. Okay, so I just took like 5 points. So actually, mental health consists of a lot of things. And these things, we have to be like, oh, good to have a good mental health condition. So mental health is on the spectrum who can range from good to poor. And it is like physical health. Everyone has mental health. And there is no health without mental health. So when your mental health is poor, mental disorder may develop. So mental disorder is characteristic by a clinically significant disturbance in an individual's cognition, emotional regulation, and behavior. For example, depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety disorder, schizophrenia, and ADHD. So here, they are like common psychological disorder that some people may have. I also put a percentage here. That is the point prevalence of each disorder. That means the proportion of population has this disorder at this specific point of time. So the past 12-month prevalence and the lifetime prevalence, the number will be much higher. And mental disorder actually influences us like in all the aspects in life. For example, if someone has depression, they will feel very depressed. They don't have the energy to do the activities they used to do. They lack of interest in their used habit. So it will influence. They don't, for example, they don't go to work. They don't go to school. Their relationship with families and friends will also be influenced. So actually, mental disorder influence like everyone. So you can see the number here. Right now in the world, there are 3.8% people has depression, 0.5 has bipolar, 4% of people has anxiety disorder, and 0.3 with schizophrenia, and around 1% with ADHD. So although these are just small numbers, but think about like when you're adding up all the numbers for people with like any one of the mental disorder, guess how many people in the world has mental disorder? Yeah, have your guess, and I'll reveal the answer. The answer is 970 million people. That is equal to 1 in every 8 people around the world has mental disorder now. Okay, I don't know, do you feel surprised about the number? So when I was in college, like sitting in abnormal psychology class, so abnormal psychology class is like the class about mental disorder. at that time, no one revealed that they have or had mental disorder. But right now, I am in a university teaching abnormal psychology. I have 23 students in my class, and 3 of them reveal that they have mental disorder. So actually, the number I got is very similar to like 1 in every 8 people in the world. Okay, but this could be due to the awareness of mental disorder is higher than before. And so things get worse when it was in COVID pandemic. So an increase of 28% and 26% for depression and anxiety disorder, respectively, increased in just 1 year. And in addition to that, words affect mental disorder. Like even just exposed to the image, audio, or videos of words will have negative impact on your mental health. So actually the mental health situation in the world is worse and worse. So right now I use a lot of data to tell you, okay, this is a serious problem now. We have to do some action. We have to make what we can do what we can do. So for people who probably has mental disorder now, I just want to tell you that you are not alone, because people are aware of this problem, and seeking help and support is a key to recovery. And following up, I'm going to talk a bit more about the other consequences of mental disorder that is related to everyone. So here you can see the graph. So that is the total disease burden by case, and the survey is done in 2019. So the burden here means disability and also premature death. So premature death means that death before the average age. Okay, so the global burden rank you can see. The first one is cardiovascular disease. The second is cancer. So they are the 2, like on the top, that cause a global burden. And mental disorder is the 7th leading cause of burden in the world. Does that surprise you? Because like you probably think, okay, mental disorder is not a big deal, but actually it is the 7th on this board to cause a global burden. And depression and anxiety disorder is a top 2. Following mental disorders like diabetes, kidney disease, and respiratory disease. So also there are economic consequences for mental disorder and thus burden. So the loss in economic productivity in 2010 is US dollar 1.7 trillion, and direct cost of care is 0.8 trillion US dollar. That is huge, right? And that was in 2010. So the estimated number in 2030 is 6 trillion to the cost due to mental disorder, alongside the increased social cost. And this number actually is more than the cost of cancer, diabetes, and chronic respiratory disease combined together. So you see that the problem actually will be even worse when the time goes by. And the more important thing is you may lose your loved one. So I'm talking about suicide. More than 1 people, like in 100, die because of a suicide in a year. That is more than 700,000 people died by suicide in 2019. And suicide is the 4th leading cause of death among people between 15 to 29 years old, and is a 17th leading cause among all the age range worldwide. 77% of suicide occur in low and middle income countries. And also suicide also linked to psychological mental disorder. So 2/3 of people who attempt suicide have a history of psychological disorder. And 6 to 8% of people with depression, bipolar, or schizophrenia die from suicide. So we can predict that if we can improve the situation of mental health, then the suicide rate will also decrease. Actually, it is also the goal of WHO. They aim to reduce a third of suicide by 2030. However, right now, the awareness and support of mental disorder are still insufficient. So among the world, only 2% of the health budget is allocated to mental health. And among all the health research, only 2.6% is doing mental health related research. And the situation is even worse in the low-income countries, only 2.7%. Better in the high-income country, like 8% of the health research budget goes to mental health. So this will lead to a lot of people with mental disorder are untreated. Like 71% of people with psychosis do not receive mental health services, even this is a serious disease and need attention. With all the problem, and there is another problem, is around stigma for mental disorder. And that probably is one of the barriers to demand for social and mental health care. So the society has some stereotype about mental disorder. For example, you may think people with mental disorder are intelligent, weak, lazy, difficult, violent, or even dangerous. So these are how people look at people with mental disorders. And these are not true, right? You probably can kind of feel, okay, this is not true, but it will have a lot of consequences because of these stigmas. So I'm going to talk a bit about mental disorder. So we know it is a real disorder that is like your diabetes, your hypertension, or you get the flu. They are all real disorder. And they develop because a lot of factors that are hard to control. The first one, genetic factor. So you get depression probably because there is a gene related to depression in your family. So that is like when you get your diabetes, probably your family also have diabetes. And there is also like neurological factors that include the abnormalities in your brain function, your brain network, and also the dysregulation of neurotransmitter. There is social cultural factors like the country you live, it is high income or low income countries, and also your social economic status or the social norm or the stress in the society will influence whether you get depression or other disease or not. We also got like cognitive behavior factor, that is psychological factor, that how you think, how do you do actions, also links to mental disorder. So right now you can understand that there are so many factors that is hard to control. You cannot control that. And so people also need to understand it, that mental disorder is not someone's fault. It is just like a lot of different factors that adding up together, so you get this disease. So the consequences of stereotype or stigma could be huge. So for example, if you live in a society that think people get mental disorder because they are lazy or because they are intelligent, anything. So the consequences, one, is treatment avoidance. So people may not seek treatment because of a stigma. It will have the consequences like worsening symptoms, delayed treatment, and increased risk of suicide. Also, if people are developing the disease and because of a stigma, they may want to hide the disease because they don't want other people to know they have it and have judgment about their symptoms or disease. The second, stigma also causes psychological stress that will have negative impact on recovery and quality of life. And the third consequence is healthcare inequality. So prejudice may cause people get unequal treatment, and that then be more difficult in getting the medical care and support. So we need to transform the mental health situation, and it needs the whole society to help. And what I mean whole society, actually that includes you, right? You are part of our society. And you may think, okay, I'm not a policy maker. How do I help? So I'm going to talk about this from the individual level. So as an individual level, okay, language matters. We all have bias, but you need to be aware that whether your speech, whether your talk involves some stereotype or stigma about mental disorder, because like language will shape the thoughts and it will pass down to the next generation. So language is very important, language matters. And the second things you can do is to provide support to people with mental disorder that involve like active listening and encourage them to seek help. And the third one is to share stories. So if you have mental disorder or the person you are close to have mental disorder, like be open to that. Share the story, share the personal experience. That will help to humanize mental health issue. So study also found that for people who has contact with people with mental disorder, their stigma actually reduce. So contact and familiarity is a key to reduce the stigma in the individual level. And in community and institution, you can also promote like supporting environment. For example, to have like a place that can openly discuss mental disorder without any like fear or judgment. And also employers can provide like a good supported workplace culture that value mental health and mental disorder and provide the needed resources for all the employees. Also, like your donations can go to educations and programs that are aimed to increase the awareness of mental disorder, that also talk about the reality, the knowledge of mental disorder. And that will increase the understanding and empathy. And also like you yourself can participate or advocate some anti-stigma program that will reduce stigma and discrimination. So that will all be like helpful for the whole society. And now moving on to the policy level, you are not a policymaker, but your vote has power, right? So support the policymaker who care about mental health issues, who are trying to establish the anti-discrimination law. It will also be helpful. And encourage responsible and balanced reporting. So for some media, have a balance and a justice way to report about mental disorder is also important, like in television, in TV show, in movies, in books. And also promote access to care for everyone. That include that affordable and readily available services. And also like the self-health care provider also need the training that target culture sensitive and provide a stigma-free care. So I have been like talked through all the actions from individual, from communities, from policy. I don't know like how many items do you think like, yes, I can do that from today. Yeah, I hope you have some kind of ideas about that. So reducing stigma and improve mental health care is an ongoing process. Like step by step, you will get that. So we need a whole society help. By fostering this like more understanding and inclusive society, we can help individuals with mental disorder receive the support and respect they deserve. So I want to emphasize again, transforming mental health needs the whole society that includes you. Be the person that supports people and pity the person that many others feel they are not alone in struggling the disease. So I hope this is the message that you'll take home from today and take action from now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A warm round of applause for Dr. Fong. Thank you very much for bringing us such informative talks. Again, we appreciate the two very informative talks brought by Dr. Yan Xu Chen and Dr. Ya-Chun Fong from the National Sun Yat-sen University. And also, we would like to thank past District Governor City for providing excellent simultaneous interpretation to facilitate the meeting. Now we will have another 10 minutes break. Please return for AKS induction ceremony at 5 after 11. 5 after 11 for the AKS induction ceremony. Thank you.